Nothing in the world matters more than the work we do for ourselves. The work we do to bring the forgotten back to memory, to bring forward all that people have hidden away, to teach those hidden things for the good of humanity. It is all about hearing the stories in those liminal spaces, bringing the forgotten back to life, making sure our stories are always heard. Listening to divergent voices across the many liminal levels of our three-dimensional physical space will help break us from this domestication that Janka Porter speaks of. We need to study more into what constitutes knowledge transmission, and all of these other voices. Let's find ways of hearing those voices, listening to what they have to say, then evaluating them for their strengths and bringing back lost stories. Maybe we can start with the paranormal and more into the deeper mystical dimensions through new advanced thought institutions. It'll take decades, but we can start small, then go vast in time. In order for some people to get the images and the inner monologue out of their minds and into the open, they have to bleed it all out through painting and drawing in all of these creative ways, and to struggle with bringing things from the forgotten into the seen, even when they struggle with being seen and almost want to be forgotten, want to be buried in the rubble, want to not be noticed, yet still be noticed. How does one deal with walking through this space? This is why we go to these sad, lonely, and deserted locations, look into the darkness, and see those who have been forgotten. We see the lost art. We see the lost clothing. We see the names that no one comes to visit. And the only thing we have are pictures, paintings, sound, some kind of afterthought that reminds us of those lost stories. The process of bringing together these lost dreams, lost tales, lost ideals, lost struggles. It's neither simple nor an easy concept to bring to the world. Let's try to complete just a portion of this lost human story from these liminal spaces. Exactly the same as the ones in England when all the moss grows on them. And what's the name of this cemetery? This is a burial ground.
Granary.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Hamilton's grave is right over here.
Oh, let me see.
Yeah.
We talked earlier in the term about the voices in our heads that tell us we can't do something and then we shouldn't go for something or that we'll mess up. And maybe we sometimes do mess up. Maybe that's a part of doing whatever it is we do, whether we're working on a PhD or a painting, even if our painting's in a psychiatric house, the yellow house, which is what I said earlier. Even in the exhibits it mentions, he is said to have mentioned that, if you hear voices in your head to paint, then paint and the voices will fall silent. All right, hey team, just finished doing some filming. Gosh, I just suddenly can't remember the name of the town that I'm in. Doing this, not the one I live in. Yeah, I know. I never really thought that I would add Van Gogh to my Liminal Spaces my Liminal Spaces walkthrough that I do for graveyards, that I do for abandoned places. But this has given me a strange and really sad feel. I'm pulled into trying to understand this artist. It may not be my central focus, but now I'm more interested than ever in this work, and this is completely unexpected. So I'm sitting here checking out the Yellow Room, a reproduction of the Yellow Room, and I know what it feels like to feel alone in one's own mind while trying to do the work that you feel like you need to get out. It's something that I'm feeling in the CIS work, so and I think that's why it was unexpectedly easy to push me into an emotional state while looking at all of this. You're left questioning your own intentions, your own reasons, and your own loneliness, your own liminal space, that space that is forgotten. When we think of art, Dewey wrote, we tend to think of art objects, but the real art is the experience of making or encountering the object. Dewey also considered all meaningful learning to be based on experience. The life of an organism is a series of transactions between it and the environment, marked by periods of both equilibrium and disequilibrium, and the moment of passage from the disturbance to harmony is when growth occurs. So hello everybody. So I wasn't really sure. Let me show you all real quick with something very exciting that I really enjoy doing, and I love doing in when I'm in a place by myself. I don't like putting other people under this under unknown possibilities of what could happen with them or to them if they're experiencing things that I find normal for myself, like, spirits coming around and coming in, and that has happened here, but really they only seem to visit for a moment to look at the new place I've moved to and then move on or go on or run around in the neighborhood, and I'm only adding a couple of extra minutes, I thought, in order to try and bring forth those liminal voices, those people that we can't always hear. Now, this doesn't always work, but this is what Zach and I, what you heard us using actually, I didn't put that example in the project, which I actually might do. I might add it on to the end of this. I may not. It depends on the length, but it's called cycle. I can't remember per cycle. I can't remember how fast, but it's quite fast. I just simply turn it on. I go to, for instance, this is FM, and late at night there's not a whole lot going on the FM stations. Neither really is there on the AM stations up in the mountains up here, but make it move really fast. So you'd be able to hear it coming through the microphone. And again, I put the microphone down so that you don't always know what's going on. You can't always, you do. I put the microphone down so you can hear it, so it can record. And this is recording because I'm adding it to the session and you're seeing it. But it's always good to have an extra recording running, another device running, so you can catch a sound or what have you on more than one device. And what I tend to do, we tend to, like Zach and I did the other night, is ask questions about anyone who's here, anyone who might be present, who might need our help. And again, all I do is forward, is cause that to forward, and it's cycling through. Right now it's just cycling through dead stations, and I have a temperature piece turned on. In the green at the bottom is the temperature turned on. And the biggest problems with Zach and I is that we kept getting temperature variance in the room. It was relatively warm. I had the heater turned on, and it wasn't near the heater, and there was nothing coming through the door. No one was coming in and out, but the temperature variant kept moving. And in here, it's warm. It's okay. There's no heat coming from the light, but you can hear beeping sounds because as I ask about who's here, who might be with us that wants to be heard. Is there anyone? And as I've been playing native music most of the night while doing work, powwow music, because it keeps me in the spiritual mode, and I just felt something really tight on my eye right then. I haven't been feeling that at all night. Maybe it's an effect from the light. Our brain always goes to these, quote, logical conclusions and wondering what something is. But as I'm running this normally, I'm usually throwing out questions. The other night, a kind of smoke appeared behind me, as if someone were smoking a cigarette. I turned to look, and of course it didn't shock me, but I turned to look and no one was there. And I'm like, okay. And that was it. It's not something that bothers me. It's not something that gets me overly excited. It's not something that gets on my nerves. It's just something that I know happens. And I just let it be. But if anyone hears something, or you notice something, you can always get a hold of me and let me know. What I'm trying to do is to not form your minds around what you think you're going to hear, what you think you're going to see. Now, this situation may turn out to be absolutely nothing, or there may be something, and a temperature variant. There's someone that needs to speak. Just turn off the keyboard. What can I do for you? Who was here the other night behind me, smoking? And it's best to always listen back to see whether or not
something else is going on. And perhaps this is not the greatest night. This is just an example. It's something I would cut, go through, put in, see what's going on. Nothing's going on. But this is just a taste of what would be going into the large project that I was having to several different episodes. But I wanted you guys to see this because I think it's good to be able to have a small artifact of some of the things that I have. I have a ton of stuff and a few other things that are huge radio devices that, I could do another show on. But this is just a taste. You can think it's all BS, and that would be cool too because, hey, we all got to start somewhere. And I think that that's cool. All right, Tim. I think we're done with just this little bit of an example. If anybody sees or hears anything that I haven't caught, please tell me.